Hi! In this demo, we're going to cover input polling from mouse and touchscreen input sources. Here in the CodeHS editor, I have a script called mouse touchscreen input. As the name suggests, this will poll both the mouse and touchscreen for inputs. Remember, we need to declare using Unity engine.inputSystem at the top of the script to have access to polling functions. Scrolling down to our update function, we have a couple if statements that look similar to how they appeared in other polling types, but with some key differences. You may have noticed that we do not have a null check at the top of update like we had previously. We are still checking whether the input device is present and active, but we're doing it in a slightly different way. Within our if statement, we can see this first check here. The exclamation point here means not. So this can be read as, if mouse.current is not equal to null. Or in other words, if there is a mouse plugged in. We then have these two ampersands here. You'll remember that two vertical lines in an if statement meant or. Well, these two ampersands mean and. So both cases in the if statement must be true to execute the code within. So we're checking if the mouse is not null. And if that's true, meaning a mouse is plugged in, we then also check if the left button is pressed. When those are both true, we move on to the code within the brackets. There are 3 lines of code here. The first creates a new vector2 named click position and polls the mouse's position. We can see a new piece of code here being read value. When polling something like a button, that is a binary check. Either the button is pressed or it isn't. Because of this, we can simply check a Boolean property like isPressed. But for continuous data, like the cursor's position on the screen, we instead use read value. In this case, we are polling the mouse's position by using read value and mapping that value onto a vector2. The next line uses another new piece of code. We take our click position vector2 we just set and perform a function called screenToWorldPoint from our main camera. What this does is it converts screen space to world space by basically shooting a laser forward from our camera. Let's say I click on the screen at an X position of 100 and a Y position of 100. Those values may not necessarily align with the actual world space value of our scene, especially if the camera has moved. But screen-to-world-point converts our screen space value to always map onto our game world. And finally, we take our converted world position vector2 and set the sprite's position to be equal to that. Just below, we can see a very similar block of code. However, all instances of using a mouse are replaced with the primary touch of the touchscreen. The primary touch is the first finger that makes contact with the screen and is treated separately from using more than one finger on the screen at once. Now that we know how the script works, let's download it for use in our Unity game. Back in Unity, I have my player controls project open. Let's start by removing any existing code we have from any previous activities. Selecting my square sprite, we can see it still has the keyboard input script component. So let's remove that by clicking the 3 dots. Then, remove component. I've already downloaded the mouse touchscreen input.cs file from CodeHS, and I'm going to import that into my scripts folder, then drag it onto my square. It'll be up to you to test this script, but first, I'm going to quickly show off a unique Unity feature. I'm going to switch to the Game view. Then click this drop-down where it says Game, and then select Simulator. This allows Unity to simulate a mobile device screen, and is great for the development of mobile and other touchscreen games. We can select which device to simulate, and then hit play to test our touchscreen polling. But I'll leave that up to you. Now that you understand the script's functionality, It's your turn to import it into your Unity project and test it out for yourself.